Tonight, the UN commemorates its first Nakba Day to mark the mass displacement of Palestinians on the formation of Israel. The commemoration comes after facing years of opposition from countries including Canada, the US, and Israel. And Recep Tayyip Erdogan manages a meager lead in what is being described as one of the toughest Turkish presidential elections. The lead comes as Turkey is hit with its worst economic and natural crises. We cover stories about Muslim academics facing discrimination in Spain, another assault in the parking lot of a Canadian mosque, and a report that says global warming has picked up the pace in the last 50 years. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I am Catherine Bullock. Today is Nakba Day. For the first time in its history, the United Nations is officially recognizing today, May 15th, as a day of mass displacement of Palestinians during the formation of the Israeli state. The organizers are calling it a reminder of the historic injustice suffered by the Palestinian people. They say the day is also meant to spotlight the ongoing refugee crisis. For years, the Nakba did not get international recognition. Powerful counter-narratives have acted as a barrier against Palestinian voices. 30 countries, including Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom, voted against the UN's resolution to adopt the commemoration. Israeli officials are also urging UN member states to boycott the commemoration. Israel's UN ambassador Gilad Erdogan calls Nakba Day a despicable event that adopts the Palestinian narrative of calling the establishment of the State of Israel a disaster. He says attending the commemoration will destroy any chance of peace. A media source confirms that the US will not be at the event, and neither would Ukraine. The commemoration included a keynote address from the Palestinian Authority's President Mahmoud Abbas, and the UN live-streamed an event earlier this evening that included music, photos, video, and testimonials about Nakba Day. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has today emerged from his toughest election test unbowed. He is now in a strong position to add another 5 years to the 2 decades of his Islamic-rooted rule. Erdogan came within a fraction of a percentage point of winning Sunday's presidential ballot. His right-wing party also retains control of parliament through an alliance with ultra-nationalists. Erdogan also managed to win in regions hit by a calamitous February quake that claimed more than 50,000 lives. At the time of the calamity, there was huge discontent from the residents at the government's slow response to Turkey's worst disaster of modern times. The main opposition party, led by Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, confronted the reality that they are unable to beat Erdogan at one of his most vulnerable moments. Turkey's election officials have confirmed that there would be a second round because the remaining uncounted votes could not swing the outcome. Most analysts feel that Kılıçdaroğlu and his 6-party opposition alliance will have a difficult time halting Erdogan's momentum over the coming 2 weeks. Erdogan won 49.5% of the vote, and Kılıçdaroğlu picked up 44.9%. Supporters of the coalition government in Pakistan have started a sit-in in front of the Constitutional Court. The protesters think the court is biased in favor of former Prime Minister Imran Khan because last Friday it granted him bail in a corruption case. The court ruled that Khan's arrest was illegal. There was a heavy security presence in the capital. Khan has become snarled in dozens of legal cases since he was ousted. Khan dismisses the cases as politically motivated ahead of elections due no later than October. Khan has waged an unprecedented campaign of defiance against Pakistan's army, which has ruled the nation for nearly half of its 75-year history and continues to wield massive influence. When Khan surged into office in 2018, Most understood it was with the backing of its powerful military. Analysts likewise say when he left power, it was because he had fallen out of favor with the top generals. In opposition, Khan has made explosive claims about the military's involvement in politics and plotting for his assassination. His arrest last week came just hours after he repeated the allegations at a rally. Contact is slowly being restored with tens of thousands of people in a major Myanmar port city after a cyclone tore through the west of the country and neighboring Bangladesh. Cyclone Mocha carried winds of up to 195 kilometers per hour between Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh and Myanmar's Sittwe. 5 people have died in the cyclone. It is the biggest storm to hit the Bay of Bengal in more than a decade. Officials say the cyclone has spared the refugee camps that house 1 million Rohingya in Bangladesh. There are no reported deaths in the camps. In Myanmar, nearly 860 houses and 14 hospitals have been damaged. As of today, communications were still mostly down in Rakhine's state capital, Sittwe. The city saw the most destruction. Please stay tuned. We will be back after a short break. A Spanish academic says that those scholars who convert to Islam conceal that they are Muslims so that their careers will not be harmed. She says their need to conceal their religion causes them stress and psychological problems. This is what Luchi Hurtado, a Spanish academic who works in the field of international relations, has told a media source. Hurtado says she was Catholic before she accepted Islam 13 years ago. Hurtado says she encountered discrimination and exclusion from her social circle when she told her family and close friends that she was a Muslim. To make friends, she joined a community founded by Muslim Spaniards. She notes that others like her also complain of being discriminated against by society. She recalls not being discriminated against at her university because she was not wearing a headscarf at that time. She says Spanish academics who are Muslims are more pressured than Muslim academics coming from foreign countries. Hurtado notes that Spanish academics who were discovered to be Muslims are branded as traitors who betrayed their country. She says Spanish lecturers who are Muslims have great difficulties in applying to other universities. Hurtado says thesis advisors do not speak out against academic bullying, even though they think it is wrong. Toronto police are investigating an assault of an elderly man this past Wednesday outside a Scarborough mosque in Ontario. Surveillance camera footage shows a man walking in the parking lot of Beit al-Aman Masjid at nearly 8 o'clock in the evening when 2 people approach him. One of the men appears to be holding a bat. He hits the old man with the bat. The other man kicks him, making the victim fall to the ground. As the attack continues, a grey-coloured sedan pulls up slowly right next to the assailants. The suspects get into the sedan and drive away. Police say the victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. They say after speaking to the victim, the attack does not appear to be hate-motivated. Canada has seen a rise in mosque attacks. Recently, the Ontario government has approved funding for religious places to improve their security. Justice Minister David Lametti says he will make targeted reforms to the Canadian Criminal Code after provinces have raised concerns about repeat offenders. Lametti and the federal government are expected to bring forward legislation to enact bail reform as early as tomorrow. The government says the reforms will deal with repeat offenders who use firearms and dangerous weapons. The provincial governments have asked for a reverse onus system for some offences. This means a person seeking bail will have to prove why they should not stay behind bars. There have been many calls for reforms, especially after the death of an Ontario provincial officer in February. A man who was released on bail had shot the officer. The Conservatives and law enforcement leaders have been demanding more restrictive terms for bail. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is reporting that global surface temperatures have been rising at a faster rate since 1970. The report states the pace of human-caused warming has risen from 0.8 Celsius in the second half of the 19th century to 1.3 Celsius in the 2010s. The report shows global temperatures rose 1.1 Celsius in the past 10 years, as compared to temperatures in the 50 years between 1850 and 1900. It says human-induced climate change triggers meteorological and climate extremes such as heat waves, heavy rainfall, droughts, and tropical cyclones. The report warns that the impacts on ecosystems unleashed by these changes are becoming irreversible. These include the effects on the Earth's water systems of the melting of the glaciers and thawing permafrost in some mountain and Arctic ecosystems. The report says nearly 50% of coastal and wetlands ecosystems have been destroyed in the past 100 years as a result of extreme climate events. It says combating climate change will require effective planning, political commitment, multi-layered governance, and policy and strategy frameworks. It adds that clear objectives, adequate finance, and inclusive management processes are needed. Thank you for watching. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or go to our website muslimnetwork.tv to make a donation so that we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.